Hey everybody, Eric Sweat here for the Gamer. Welcome back to another episode of your favorite game, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts, Designated Player 2, George Foster.
Always, hello.
And never lets me skip the cutscenes, Stacey Henley.
Hello.
Mine are always so much worse.
Yeah, that's the point. You're getting it.
Yeah. Player 2, I get it.
Today we are diving deep into couch co-op specifically, which I started coming up with a lot of co-op games and realized that's maybe a different episode, maybe save it for something else. But I'm excited for this one because my biggest fear about the show is that we run out of games to talk about and it's just George talking about Kingdom Hearts 2 every week.
Dead Rising, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
we did have a run of Dead Rising games.
Yeah, we did. But this one brought up, in my mind, a lot of games that we have not talked about before. And I'm curious if you guys had the same.
Yeah, one of mine, the one I nearly went for, I have discussed before, kind of why I didn't go for it, but the rest of mine, I don't think I've even mentioned in passing.
Right, yes.
Same.
Cool thing about this topic, gamers of a certain age have fond memories of couch co-op, something that kind of went away for a while, and then obviously this episode is in honor of Split Fiction. And Hazelight Studios, the new champion of couch co-op, even though that's not specifically a couch co-op game, it is a split screen game. Because you can play it online.
I think it definitely fits the brief.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay.
Most people are going to play it that way,
yes,
I think.
Absolutely.
I'm stressing about my choices now.
Yes, let's find out if George actually picked a couch co-op game, George. I know, we gave you 2 restrictions this week. You want to start us off? What's your favorite couch co-op game? He looks so nervous.
Yeah, well, the more I thought about it, okay, my favorite couch co-op game is LittleBigPlanet 2.
Yes, nailed it.
Yeah.
And I realized as I said it, I'm like, well, you can play that online. I didn't. I never really played that
the
online.
Spirit of the question.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, hell yes. We've never talked about LittleBigPlanet.
No.
If we ever do a best creator, I'm sure that's somewhere in the mix. But some of my favorite memories, the first LittleBigPlanet actually is the first game I played, kind of ruining my point here. I played that online. That was the first game I ever played that had like access to the internet.
Really?
And jumping on the creator.
Wow.
Yeah, that was 2007. I remember coming back home
Jeez.
from school that day. I know, it hurts me as well. I came back from school that day and my stepdad had set it up and he was like, oh, just jump into LittleBigPlanet. And then like I don't know if you two remember, you have like the free planets at the pod place. And like the online one opened up for the first time. It was just, my world expanded. Like I'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I guess it's the equivalent of like Roblox for kids these days, just all the things you can find.
And he was like, have fun, don't get molested.
Yeah, have fun and go see all the weird penis levels that were in there somewhere. But yeah, LittleBigPlanet 2 specifically, because it's the best one in the series. Me and my friends from school at the time, I'd just invite them over, we'd hop on to LittleBigPlanet, and we just go online. I know technically it's online, whatever, but we did it couch co-op. We play. Did you guys ever do the shark survival levels, the bomb survival levels? Was that a thing for you?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Don't know that I played 2. No, I had 1 and 3. I had 3, played 1. Obviously played Sackboy, Big Adventure. Don't think I ever played 2.
2 is the best one. 2 is the
I
one where...
switched across to the 360, so there's quite a few PS3 games that I haven't bothered catching up on.
I think I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure... No, in fact, LittleBigPlanet 3 had all the user-created levels, but 2 had, like, each game had its own campaign that didn't carry over, annoyingly. So that one stuck to the PS3, but it had the best campaign. It introduced, like, the grapple gun, the jet boot, stuff like that, the power gloves, you could lift stuff. So already, like, even if you didn't have online, you had the best LittleBigPlanet campaign that you could play co-op. But if you did have online, you go do these levels, like Shark Survival. Oh my god, it's just another age. I can't even describe it, how cool that was, but the level was literally just, you would be standing on floating platforms in the water, and you and your friend would survive against the shark that just rapidly gets faster and has more jets. It was so cool.
That does ring a bell.
And what's really clever about it, and this always sticks out in my mind, the first Little Big Planet didn't have water. Like, it didn't have a water mechanic, so people would do these levels, but they would have glass instead of water, so it was just like totally like broken. It didn't work at all. And then jumping into Little Big Planet 2, where they added water, it was this whole thing. And to this day, I don't know, the joy and the screams of playing Bomb Survival and like being last standing, then your friend's just on the sofa next to you dead, waiting for you to die. Magic. Pure gaming magic.
Pure gaming magic. It's a good one for this topic, though. It is a good one for this topic, though, because you're right. It's not a game that we talk about very, very much. I know you and I especially both really, really like platformers, but I don't think either of us would have Little Big Planet and the kind of the very, very top way when it crashes in Spyro and Mario. I wouldn't have Sonic. I know you would. But Little Big Planet doesn't get as much recognition, I don't think.
No, God, no.
But it did this kind of thing, basically. Mario's got some co-op stuff. I don't think it was ever as good as the Little Big Planet game, the Sackboy game as well, made it work. Yeah, I love the kind of freedom of the Little Big Planet games. They were a lot more, I guess they feel that even though it's a big jump in quality, because I don't think it's a top tier game, probably the closest platformer to the spirit of Astrobot in that kind of like the colourful adventureness of it. Just a cool couch co-op game, a good pick.
That's a really good. I hadn't thought of. I've seen all the memes of like Sackboy being replaced by Astrobot,
by Astro,
which is more just because like cute mascot. But when you think about the spirit of it, yeah, totally. And that just makes me realize like Astrobot with co-op, that would be amazing. I can't believe that's not a thing. Next game for sure.
There's quite a bit of Astro. I give Astro a 5-star, which I give quite rarely, and I think it's great. And I've been playing all of the updates. I'm waiting. We film this on a Wednesday, so tomorrow the new time trial level will come out. But there is quite a bit of those things that are missing in Astro. Like, I would quite like that to be a time trial for every level. And different sort, like a 2-player thing, and some of the like a way to play something on the so the minigame stuff when you're on Planet. There are definitely things that they could do to make Astro even better, and I do think Little Big Planet had a lot of those. It just the level design. As I haven't played 2, you said it's the best one, but a 1, 3 in Sackboy, the level design just isn't on Astro's level of like creativity and freedom, and just like, how did I think of this stuff?
That hurts my soul, because one is fantastic, but it's obviously the start, right? Like, it's obviously they're beginning to this formula. The third game is a different company altogether. It's Sumo did it. I think it's Sumo Digital.
Sumo Digital did. They
did Sackboy: A Big Adventure as well. Yeah, they did both. But Little Big Planet 2 was Media Molecule still, and they took what they did in the first game, they just went so much further with it. And like I say, all playable in co-op, all incredible. I wish they were doing anything with Little Big Planet now, but like, as it is, it kind of sucks that you can't play that campaign unless you're on PS3. So RIP, I guess, to my memories.
Definitely an important game for UGC. I mean, at least on console. I don't know if we'd have Mario Maker without Little Big Planet. And it is kind of basic, like you're making side-scrolling levels. It's kind of interesting that at the same time we had Little Big Planet, we had like Gary's Mod on PC where people were making entire universes. But yeah, precursor to what Media Molecule would eventually do with Dreams, yeah.
The less we say about Dreams, the better.
I like Dreams. I thought Dreams was I'm really glad Dreams existed.
It's very impressive. The amount of time it took Media Molecule to make for the results they ended up getting for it, I don't know. It just feels like a misfire.
It almost felt too good, because you're right. Like, people make stuff in Roblox and Minecraft. See, Minecraft's an excellent game. But people make these things in quite blocky, I don't know, quite chunky, grungy sorts of ways in Roblox that kind of fit together. But Dreams was so polished.
Yeah.
Dreams was like, here is a breakfast that looks like a breakfast. And I'd be like, that's really cool. Why?
Yeah.
There wasn't that, and I know people had great games, and I played the Sloth one, I played a couple of them, but there just wasn't that like pull, I don't think, with Dreams to.
No,
You had to be really, really good to make stuff. Whereas in Roblox, kids who just have a bit of passion can decide to make it.
That's sort of my hope with Dreams. Like, we don't know what Media Molecule's doing now. My hope is that because that didn't do as much as they wanted, maybe Old Reliable go back to Little Big Planet. Like, I know that's really boring to say go back to something that worked, but I'd love to see. They've not been on that series for like 10 years. I'd love to see what that time does.
Is there actual co-op mechanics, or are you just playing the levels at the same time?
So there's specific bits that you can only do with other players as well. So like some levels will come with the thing where it's like ×2 Sackboys, and then you have to go out that way, hidden collectibles, and then usually like little puzzles.
Okay.
But the rest of it is just you can do everything like player one can do. You just going with them.
Yeah.
Pretty similar to like
I think
how
you can
Kirby
create
and Mario
as well.
does it.
Right.
Yeah. But because it's more, I don't know, Little Big Planet's quite physics-based, so you have a lot of chances to mess around with players. So some of my favorite times in it was like the grapple gun, for instance. Like your friend would be running away, trying to do a platform bit, you just hook onto them, they die. Hilarity.
Hilarious.
But you could do that with like a seesaw as well. Like you could make jumps easier. If one of you jumped on one side of the seesaw, the other one would go up. So it was the people who are really good at design. It designed it so that two players could have an easier time with it, I guess.
Yeah, it's quite considered. Like I know a lot of times it's here's another player, the enemies are easier, the level goes by faster. But in Little Big Planet, it's like
that's all Monster Hunter does, to be fair.
Yeah, well,
like really complex games just do here's another player. It's a bit easier.
Cool, nice one. I love the idea of Little Big Planet more than I love playing Little Big Planet, but it is a cool game.
Generational gap, I think.
Fair. Yes, my little brother loves Little Big Planet. Sissy, what's your favorite couch co-op game?
So I was torn on exactly which one to go for. So I've gone for the one that I think, I guess, pushed this formula first, even though other games have maybe done it a bit further.
Yeah.
My favorite couch co-op game is Until Dawn.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, followed by the Dark Pictures and the Quarry and all those sorts of games.
Yes.
People who don't know how Until Dawn works, it's firstly nothing like the movie they're making. Not even close to being like the movie they're making about Until Dawn. But you play as various different characters who are themselves mostly played by celebrities, and you make choices as them for how their story goes. It's like a horror movie, and they have to survive until dawn. At the start of the game, you can choose who you're going to play as, and who... I think it's up to 4, but I just played it with one person, so we were going back and forth. So I played as some of the characters, and then my wife played as some of the other characters, and we were then responsible for keeping our characters alive. So it's not just a kind of, because I've played a lot of games before when it's just like, if you die, you pass it on. I've played lots of games, like we just mentioned, platformers, like with friends, where it's just you pass it on. This is very specifically not tied to you play for a bit, then I play for a bit. You become like a custodian of certain characters through the story, and that makes you a bit more protective of them. I think when you play these kind of horror games, certainly I feel a temptation when it's like, oh, there's a scratching at the door. I'm gonna open it because I want to see what's there.
Yeah.
But when you know you're only playing with 3 characters, when you know you've got to keep Hidden Penitentiary alive, you don't open the door. You go and do something more sensible, and then sometimes you end up dying that way anyway. But I really like the Dark Pictures games anyway. Big defender of them. I know people think they're a bit clunky. I always play through them with my wife as well. We always pick the characters. We do sometimes, if one person has too many characters die, we will swap halfway through, but mostly we stick with our characters until the end. And yeah, Until Dawn was the first one to like do that, but not actually a Dark Pictures game.
Right.
But I really like the way that it builds the kind of horror movie package around still being a choice-based game, and you feel like you're actually making decisions as opposed to this is the bad thing to do and this is the good thing, and do you want to be a bad guy or a good guy? You feel like you're actually in a horror movie being forced to make a kind of choice of, do you run into the cellar or do you like go further into the forest? Both of those seem like bad ideas, but they're not morality based. They're based on reacting in the moment.
Yeah, 100%.
I have never played one of these games in co-op. I know they have them. As soon as you said it, I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing. But I've always played them on my own.
I
so
only play them co-op like Stacy. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. I
They're
probably should. Like, it sounds more fun that way, but
It's
I don't know
so
if I trust anyone to keep them alive.
Yeah. I mean
Besides
they
myself.
are essentially movie games, right? And
Yeah.
they're horror movies, and horror movies are way more fun to watch with somebody else. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think there's a much more boring way to do Until Dawn in Dark Pictures.
Playing by yourself.
No. I mean, there's a more boring version of that game they could have made that didn't have such a complicated way of like doing choices and survival. But I think they're really like pushing for new ways of interactive narrative, and I think that's so cool. Even when they're not perfect, they're definitely flawed experiences. But they're really going for it. It's not just like watch this movie and do quick time events. Like there's more going on to it. And so I think those games are so cool and definitely way more fun to play co-op.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously Until Dawn and The Quarry aren't Dark Pictures. I don't think there's actually that much of a difference between them. For people like haven't played any of them, I can just pick
there is not
whichever concept kind of sounds the best. Obviously the VR games are kind of their own beast. They don't work as well, because they're not really choice games. They're like roller coasters.
Yeah.
Like take you through the games. But the base games all have a really fun way of doing things.
Yeah.
It's a Justice Smith game. The Quarry is unfortunately one of those games where Justice Smith is bad. Just if you ever seen a movie
I
Justice
really
Smith
liked him in The Quarry.
No, he's either the worst thing in whatever he's in,
Yes,
or the best thing.
right.
He flicks between the two at will.
Detective Pikachu, worst or best?
He's the worst thing in Detective Pikachu. He's terrible.
I saw the
very,
TV
very
Glow.
good, and I
Worst or
saw the
best?
TV Glow. Very, very good, and I saw the
Fantastic
TV Glow. We should just to go on a mild rant. Emilia Perez should not have been the movie that we gave all the flowers to this award season if we wanted to celebrate trans people. It should have been I saw the TV Glow.
Yeah.
But even though I picked Until Dawn, The Quarry is a fun one to start with because it has the most recognizable people in.
Yeah.
It's probably the campiest. It really leans into horror tropes. I think the rest of them try to deconstruct or do something differently. Like I can't remember what it's actually called, but there's one of this where the soldiers from Iraq fall down the well, and that's a really cool. Yeah, basically fight.
Something Ash or something.
House of Ash.
Yeah.
That's not really based on any kind of horror-y tropes. It's just, this is clearly a scary thing, and it's also like political satire. The Quarry's a really fun one because it's very obviously doing like 80s horror.
Yeah.
And yeah, if people haven't played them, even though I love Until Dawn, I would probably suggest starting with The Quarry.
Yeah, I like The Quarry a lot. Until Dawn's the best one, but I agree.
Nice.
And the movie won't be like the game.
No, it will be strange. Very strange. Good pick. Yeah, love those games.
I guess it's time to go to you, Eric, and say what is your favorite game with couch co-op?
My favorite game with couch co-op is Portal 2.
Portal 2 was on my list.
I didn't have that on my list. Actually, it's a great pick, though.
Fantastic game.
Okay, so Portal is incredible. One of a kind. The puzzle game of all time. Taken for granted because it's kind of old and it's like, yeah, we've heard enough about Portal, but it really is. It is him. And Portal 2, I really don't know how many games do this, but Portal 2 has a completely separate campaign for co-op. It's not just your friend jumps in and now there's two Master Chiefs. Like it's a different story. You're different characters. The puzzles are original and unique to co-op. And the only other game I can think of that does this weirdly is the PS2 port of Half-Life had a co-op campaign.
That's so specific.
Yeah.
There must be something
there, man. I mean, that's so obviously it's Valve, isn't it?
Yes.
Valve made both those games.
Yeah.
Like They just had the time and energy to do 2 games in one,
yeah.
and then stopped making games for 15 years because they were too tired.
too busy making money on Steam. When I played Portal 2 when I was a kid, it was the first time I thought about game design as a practice. Like somebody made this, right? Somebody made this who is so much smarter than me and smarter than I'll ever be. How did they put this together? How did they even think about this? I don't know how it works. It's like magic. Really made me think about the art of game design in a way I never had before. And then the co-op campaign is like that, and it's not doubled. It's like that times 10. This ballet of double portals and the complexity of puzzles when you take 2 people that each have their own portals. And
it's so much harder.
It is unbelievable. There are momentum puzzles in the co-op campaign where you are, the kind of puzzles where you're flying through the air and shooting portals on the ground and then shooting it somewhere else to launch yourself, that kind of thing. Where in co-op, I'm shooting my partner. I'm creating portals for my partner as they're flying through the air, and they're flying through the air and creating portals for me. And when you get to the end of it, it's like I can't believe we did that, but on a even higher level, I can't believe somebody made that. Unbelievable. Some real genius. Some real geniuses out there, and I'm just really, really so impressed by Portal.
To your point as well, Eric, for couch co-op specifically, Portal 2, playing that online is so much more difficult. To communicate with someone over voice chat, where to put a portal and how to do something. It's so difficult. When you're next to someone, it's look, go here, do this. I know you can do points and stuff, but definitely a couch co-op game.
I never played the co-op, and as you said that, I was like, oh yeah, I did have a different campaign, but I've only played the normal campaign.
It's hard as hell. I do not remember it fondly, but I know it was good. But I remember just being very annoyed the whole time.
Love it. Peabody and Atlas are the characters.
I knew one was Peabody.
Yeah.
God, just make another game, Valve. Come on.
I know. Yeah,
Half-Life 3. Half-Life 3, they are making it.
Yeah,
if there was a Portal remaster, they'd add a ping system, right? Because it doesn't really have I remember communicating by just shooting my portals here. You shoot your portal here, but if they did a remaster, you'd be able to ping around and make a route. You'd be able to connect dots.
Eric, your video's gone, by the way.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was just waiting to
only just literally 10 seconds. That's why I could see Stace and I both going
oh no!
When do we say?
When do we jump in?
Okay. I don't know. I was saying something stupid about a ping system. Well, let's move on.
Well, I liked it.
All right. Great. Before we get into our honorable mentions, George, you were going to bring a quiz this week? Hey,
no.
Hit us with the quiz, George.
What is a game with co-op in that has turtles as well? First point, go.
I think I know this one.
Be Shredder's Revenge.
No, I bet it's Turtles in Time.
No, Shredder's Revenge is better. Stace wins the pot.
I do like Shredder's Revenge, though. I gotta say, I played it to the end and I was good. And I know that they've added DLC, and I'd probably play that once and be good. And maybe I'm just older and I'm not that impressed by beat 'em ups, but when I was a kid,
you anger me. You anger me endlessly with this rhetoric.
Hold on, let me finish. When I was a kid, I played Turtles in Time every day, over and over and over. And maybe that's because it's a game for little stupid kids that don't have anything better to do. But
Shredder's Revenge is so good.
Yeah.
It is probably the best beat 'em up ever. And
really,
I think I've played. Yeah, I stand by that wholeheartedly. And I think I've played it probably 15 times across free consoles. I love that game.
It came out like last week.
And the DLC is really good as well. You
Are
need to
they
play
the
it
people who are
again.
doing Ragebound? Or are they doing what are they doing?
So it's .emu is the publisher, so they publish it.
Oh right.
It's really
Okay,
weird
yeah.
how that
It's
whole thing works.
Not
but
the devs, the publisher is doing Ragebound.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
but like it's their DNA. I guess.
yeah, sure.
Yes. Do you love the Turtles? There's countless beat 'em ups that we could mention. There's like 50 X-Men games, all the
Yep.
Streets of Rage stuff.
Streets of Rage, yeah.
Yeah. Played a lot of that stuff when I was a kid. It's fun that it's kind of back. Like there's a lot of those out there. Even Power Rangers just came out.
That was fine. Yeah. Absalom coming up. That is the one to watch.
Yes, you've been talking a lot about that
Yes.
one. Yeah.
Yes.
Sort of in the same vein, I wanted to mention Super Mario World
Yes.
on the Super Nintendo. Well, maybe the game I've played co-op the most in my life. Just like any cousin, any neighbor, any random kid, everybody wanted to play Super Mario World.
I
And
think that was my first Mario game.
probably
Actually, no, it
mine
had
too.
co-op.
Yeah. What do you mean?
What was the co-op in that?
Mario and Luigi?
Was it just? Yeah, just Luigi. Okay. For some reason, I had it in my head like. Yeah. Why can't I picture that at all? I don't know if I've ever seen World played in co-op. That's bizarre.
I mean, this is
It just looks the way like U Deluxe and Wonder does, really. Just it was World.
no. You would trade off. It would be Mario. You would die, and then it would be Luigi.
Oh,
yes,
yes,
that's right.
yes.
Yes. No, you're right.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do we actually have a quiz? Are we doing a quiz?
No,
'Cause
sorry.
you've got me excited.
You were supposed to bring it.
Wow.
Well, tune in next week to see who brings a quiz. Speaking of Mario and Luigi, got a shout out to my boy Gooigi from
Ugh.
Luigi's
Yes.
Mansion 3.
Yeah.
Boo.
The most memeable co-op ever. I know it's not great.
I just don't like Luigi's Mansion at all. I
Alright.
think they're slow and boring and dull.
I think that's a
do
weird
like
opinion.
Luigi's Mansion.
And I hate Mario Party as well. While we're at it.
Jeez, we better get off Mario before he freaks out on us. Iconic co-op Overcooked. Have you played much
Yes.
Overcooked?
Oh man.
I have actually not played much Overcooked.
Okay.
When mainly I would play with my we get stressed when we play regular games, so I haven't approached Overcooked.
Yeah.
'cause I would.
Oh,
like
it's an argument
to
haver.
stay married.
It is. It will ruin. It will ruin your relationships. I enjoy Overcooked a lot, though. I prefer Plate Up.
I've heard of Plate Up. I think they're just kind of very similar, right?
They are very similar, but I suppose like in the way that Overcooked is just like master this level and then move on to the next one. Plate Up is more like a roguelike. It's like develop this restaurant and add upgrades to it over time and build your business. So it's like it's more of a roguelike take on Overcooked, and I think it's more interesting.
It sounds like was it called Moving Out or Moving Up or Moving something?
Yeah, it's
I think Moving Out.
not House Flippers. Is that a different thing?
Well,
Why are there so
Flippers
many
is a
games?
completely different thing.
Yeah. I think it was Moving Out because it was a couch co-op, and that was the joke because you were holding a couch.
Oh,
you were
yes,
cooperatively holding
yeah.
a couch. It was a couch
I've
co-op.
seen this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Clever gimmick, not that great a game. Basically.
I feel like I remember Stacey, you and I being at odds about this one, but the Two Towers and Return of the King games.
I used to love them. The PS2 ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even like Lord of the
love
Rings.
those
They were
games.
sick.
Was that not
Yeah.
one we talked about before?
I don't have particularly, I don't really like Lord of the Rings. I don't have particularly
Right.
strong opinions about those games. I think I played one, I don't know which one. I played a Lord of the Rings game as a kid and thought, whatever.
Man,
Oh, nah.
man,
They were cool.
doing Helm's Deep in Two Towers was so rad.
I don't speak enough nerd to get that bit, but I know the game was good.
the fight on the big wall.
I know what Helm's Deep is. It's the big battle, and
Main thing that happens in that movie. Okay. Anyway,
They're too long.
it was a thing they compared to Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones was really dark.
yeah.
And they were like,
Look
Lord
how
of the Rings
Helm's
is like
Deep
this.
did night
yeah,
battle. Yeah. Anyway,
Yes.
you get to choose which character. You could be Legolas, you could be Aragorn, blah blah blah.
That's cool.
And just do big war scenes from Lord of the Rings movies. It was so fun. I love those games. Really good. Any fondness for Gauntlet? I feel like Gauntlet's a really important co-op series.
You would have to describe Gauntlet to me.
Yeah, I guess you're too young. Well, the last one came out, the like relaunch came out in 2013. So
is it like Joust?
Yeah, and then the first one came out. You weren't even a zygote.
Joust.
No,
yeah, it sounds like
no.
Yeah,
what?
Jousty.
You don't even know what Gauntlet is?
No.
Oh, okay. So Gauntlet was a arcade game, but then it got really big on the GameCube with Gauntlet Legacy and Gauntlet Dark Legacy, Dark Shadow. Anyway, it's like a top-down arcade beat 'em up where you've got like a warrior and a mage and a thief, and you're just
yeah, I
running around
do
in
know this
dungeons.
one.
Yeah,
I've played it. Was it Sega? I'm pretty sure they've had it on like a collections game before.
Yeah,
it might not be
probably.
Sega, but it's definitely been on something like that because I have played that.
I don't remember that.
Okay,
it's
the
fine.
Collection thing.
Snipper clips.
Yeah,
love snipper clips. What's up? What, George? Are you in a bad mood today, buddy?
I've never played it. No, I've never played it.
Oh, okay.
I know what it
it's
is.
Fun. It's silly.
I know it's a Switch one, right?
Yeah.
It was like a launch title or pretty close to.
I'm gonna say it was pretty close to launch. Yeah, that and 1-2 Switch.
Yeah.
There's couch co-op.
Snipper clips is so cute. So you're just two little paper guys, just two little. You're like what shape is that? You're like half an oval, right? You're flat.
Well,
on...
I mean, it was like a Joy-Con, wasn't it? Really, that was.
Oh, I never picked.
I thought they were like what's the
office device?
Scissors? No, the ones that
He's
clip.
slapping
Staplers?
his hands together.
Stapler. I thought they were staplers. Yeah.
No, I remember them being half an oval, like an oval that's flat on one side. But anyway, you have to solve puzzles by cutting each other into different shapes, and you do that by overlapping. Like you walk. It's a like side scroller, and you walk until you overlap, and then you snip, and you can cut pieces of each other off into different shapes, and then use that to platform or to catch things or solve puzzles. So super cute game, really fun.
They weren't actually as Joy-Con shaped as I'm remembering. They were more like a tongue shape.
Yes.
And I always thought it was red and blue, which is why I thought they were the Joy-Con, but actually one of them was yellow. It was yellow and red.
Ah.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been Mandela affected into thinking they're red and blue. That's how I remember them as well.
Love that snipper clips. I have some way more niche ones that are very special to me. I think you may not have even heard of them. Did either of you ever play Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time?
No.
This is such a cool game. You have never even heard of it, George?
I've heard the phrase before. I just kind of thought it was like a book, I guess.
It does kind of sound like a YA novel or something. You're right.
Yeah.
I love this game. It's really cool. Basically, you're on a big circle spaceship, and the spaceship has guns on four sides of it, and in the middle,
like a Death Star thing.
Yeah, you're like a Death Star, and the middle of it is like hallways and ladders that connect all the different rooms and parts of the spaceship. And you and your partner have to run down the halls, up the ladders, run to the different parts of the spaceship to operate the guns, the shields, the controls, and work together to fly the spaceship around and blast asteroids and fight aliens and stuff. It's super chaotic, like Overcooked, but it's just fun to fly spaceships around, and it's it works. I think it works with up to 4 players, but I think it's really great with 2. Just trying to figure out. You do that thing where like something needs to happen immediately and you both go for it, but you can't do that because one person has to be doing something else.
Yeah.
The Overcooked effect.
Yeah.
That's what that jumps to mind.
Yeah. Really clever game, very unique. And then another one, just to briefly mention, Unrailed. This is the game where you're building the track for the train as the train's coming. Another very Overcooked kind of game, but instead of making meals, you're building tracks for a train. I like that one.
Like that Wallace and Gromit scene.
Quite a
just,
bit.
like,
Yes,
moving the track,
exactly.
putting the tracks down.
Yeah, there's a penguin shooting at you the whole time.
It's a chicken. What are you talking about?
Obvious but delightful.
Delightful. Obviously, I have to mention Left 4 Dead.
Yes,
Left 4 Dead 2.
We've talked about Left 4 Dead before, but
I didn't actually think of any of the shooter ones when I was saying this, because there are a few like that. But yeah, Left 4 Dead's a great, because it's co-op. It's definitely a couch co-op game. Shooters just weren't in my head when we're doing this.
That was an after school,
Yes.
again, friend come round, do a campaign together, try and go online, get murked. The memories. Left 4 Dead 2 specifically is just 10 times better game.
Yeah.
The melee weapons alone transform it.
The main ones throughout my life, as far as like co-op shooters, first it was Halo, then it was Left 4 Dead, and then it was Call of Duty Zombies. I think that was World at War was the first one.
I was going to say, we haven't mentioned Call of Duty. We never mentioned Call of Duty on the show. We have mentioned zombies a few times.
Yeah.
But I think even just going
just
online,
Call of Duty, yeah.
Yeah, just Call of Duty multiplayer, like doing split screen that was like at least a year of my life back when Modern Warfare 2 was a thing.
Yep.
Like incredible times.
Stacey, now that you've finished Split Fiction, It Takes Two or Split Fiction?
By a million billion gazillion %, It Takes Two.
Oh man,
I really didn't get on with Split Fiction.
God, I hyped it up so much.
What?
Have you finished it,
other
Eric?
people loved it.
Yeah.
Like it just didn't. One, not as casual, and I played it obviously, as I mentioned a couple of times. Yeah, played it with my wife, who doesn't play a lot of other video games, so It Takes Two just seemed to suit that kind of player base more.
Right.
I played this. I didn't actually do our review for it, but I was doing guide coverage for it. So I was playing it before launch. That's always a little bit more stressful and different things. So I probably didn't have the cleanest experience with it. And with It Takes Two, we could take our time with it. But I felt like the levels were quite long, and they expect a lot of knowledge of games, as like driving mechanics and shooting mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And writing has always been the weakest part of all the Hazelight stuff. And I think when they did a game about writers, it really put the focus on the fact that they themselves cannot write.
Yes.
Yeah.
These Zoe and Mio, who aren't getting published, I mean,
they don't really have any good
not
ideas.
a surprise to me, because their stories are bad.
Yeah.
He has a story that I've written. What is it? It's a game show. Okay, what's the plot? Oh, you win the game show at the end. Cool. Yeah.
Right.
The new Stephen King.
I've just got to the first fantasy level, and straight away I was like, it's a fantasy world. I'm like, yeah, this is original. You're definitely a good writer. Like, Christ alive. Shapeshifters. Ooh.
I understand why people love it. I don't want to be down on it. I think, to be honest, what I think has been a factor in the reviews, when people played It Takes Two, obviously it got a really great score, one game of the year, but I think when you're playing a game in the review period, there's always a little bit, even if you don't want it to be, even if you try and block it out as a journalist, what are other people going to think?
Yeah.
In this game, about two little wooden puppets who pull apart a cuddly elephant and, slide on piano keys and all that stuff, I think there was a bit of a sense of, it's good, but it's not a proper game. It's a childish game. It's fun. It's funky. And I think after that got such a huge reception, people went into Split Fiction completely the opposite. Anything Split Fiction does is great, because it's kind of been given permission to be great. We expected this game to score highly, so I think people probably looked at it a little bit more kindly because they love the rest of the stuff Hazelight done. Obviously, other people just love it more than I do. I don't like that this law exists, but people are allowed to disagree with me. I just don't. I don't think there's I don't think there's enough quality that makes it better. I think it's almost a case of people were, if anything, harsher on It Takes Two and a little bit more lenient on Split Fiction. And I think if they'd come out in the other order, I think the scores would be reversed.
I've only played 2 chapters so far, so I'm so far behind to offer an opinion, but
I
really like it.
I've
I
only
think it's great so far.
hand-picked previews where I guess they showed me the coolest parts, because I was like really high on this game.
Had I played it with another game, and possibly not been doing it for guides and a lot of other factors, I definitely would have liked it more. But I didn't. I guess I didn't do It Takes Two for guides, but I didn't need that kind of perfect environment to enjoy It Takes Two.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I have a couple more pretty iconic ones. We'd have to mention Resident Evil 5.
Do we?
Oh, come on. Look.
Nah.
Just Resi as a series, I know they don't all have co-op in, but like there's a few of the Resi games that have a 2-player aspect to them, isn't there?
Yeah,
Five-
I never liked 5.
5, 6, and then the Revelations games are like the main co-op ones.
I really liked 6 in co-op.
All right, you're invalid.
I'm
Shut
out
your
of the
mouth.
convo. I know. Yep.
Yes, Resident Evil 5 hasn't aged very well, and it's problematic. So fun. So fun, though, you guys. Just look past, like, the racism, and it's pretty fun, though.
I wonder if they will. If it's like next in line for a remake, you would think, just by how numbers work.
Yeah.
I wonder if and how they do it.
I don't know.
I don't know. They did tease it in 4's remake, I believe, with like a Wesker scene, but I don't know. I don't know, man. That's a thing.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the discourse in the current political climate.
Sure.
But I wouldn't mind getting a little Chris time in. Punching that boulder, baby. What else?
I have a very good one
Go
that I
ahead.
cannot believe hasn't been mentioned. The Simpsons game.
Oh my God, yeah, that
Fantastic
wasn't
in
on my
co-op.
list either.
I can't believe that you had that. I had that pegged as your number one pick because that game
No, I didn't
is
play it
so
in
good
co-op.
in co-op.
I didn't play it in co-op.
I was always given the really short end of the straw. Like whichever level had the worst character to play as, it was me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Designated
this level's
player
all
two.
about Marge doing like a Pikmin thing. It's like, yep, you're Marge. Do the really unfun part. It's like, great. Always Bart, never a Homer.
Putting that on your tombstone, pal. A game that I thought of for the first time when putting this podcast together, and probably would never have thought of again otherwise, but Army of Two.
Oh my god, that's a game that exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quintessential co-op game, if there ever was one.
Very good. Very good. co-op.
I actually had a lot of
especially
fun with Army
The
of Two.
sequel.
Yeah.
The sequel, what was that called?
Brothers in Arms. I don't know.
Bro. Doing
Really
co-op
should have been called
things.
Army of Two, but they should have made it a different kind of, like, made it the number 2 instead of the word 2.
Yeah.
Terrible for
Yeah.
SEO. but
Yeah,
if I was in the
ungoogleable.
marketing department, that's exactly what I would have called it.
Army of 2 squared.
It's fun. It's a bad game, but I had fun. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, when you're playing with a friend, every game is more fun.
That is definitely true.
Yeah,
I think any game is fun if you're playing with a friend. Like,
not
especially
any
couch co-op.
game.
I think any game. I think anything can
Try
be
playing
turned into
Redfall
fun.
co-op and come tell me any game is fun with a friend.
Okay, touche.
We tried to play Top Spin together. That was
Oh god, yeah, that was
Or
not fun.
Mario Wonder.
yeah, we
Oh,
played Mario Wonder
yeah.
together.
We had a bad time
That
with
was
that.
That was the
stupid.
online stuff I didn't remember, though. I think
Yeah.
if we were sat next to it, that would have been more enjoyable.
Yes,
Yeah.
different experience for sure. The wildly successful Human Fall Flat has to be mentioned because
Yeah.
this is one that like nobody talks about, but apparently everyone has played. Because
I have never played it.
it's
yeah.
like a top 10 all-time Steam seller that continues to sell to this day, despite being over 10 years old or something. Like everyone owns Human Fall Flat. It was a massive, massive game.
Is it not just like Gang Beasts? Because that is on my list as well. I love Gang Beasts.
So it's not as like
Don't
party
play Gang
mode.
Beasts.
It's more of a platformer,
Oh.
physics based, and you're trying to get through levels together. But
Oh.
it has that very wacky QWOP kind of
That
physics
sounds
to
like
it.
my jam, actually.
Yeah, you're like a couple of floppy dudes, and you have to figure out how to solve physics puzzles together. And it's super fun. I love that game.
Yeah, I think the dev was the one who first, or one of the devs who like first pointed out the bit in The Last of Us when Ellie loops the rope around her hand. He was like, because they
Yeah.
do so much physics stuff, he was like, we've tried to do rope stuff for like 6 years and we can't get a rope to work. And they just like show up and just make it work perfectly.
And it's just like one section of one massive
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
Obviously, they've got a much bigger budget and a much bigger team and stuff, but I do remember him commenting on like how impressive the physics were in The Last of Us as someone who had made such a physicsy game.
Yeah. And they just kept adding levels to that thing. So it was a really fun one to just like every once in a while come back to, oh, there's a new human fall flat level, and then you get a half hour of it, and you just get that all the time. I really like that. And then another huge one for me that I'm sure very few people will remember is Warhawk. I have no frame of reference for how popular Warhawk is. I know it got a sequel. It got Starhawk on the PS3. But Warhawk was a big Battlefield, like a 64-player online shooter thing, but it was very silly and cartoony. And and it had split screen co-op. And I would just like squad up with my friends and we'd go fly planes around, and I loved the Warhawk a lot. Didn't get on with Starhawk as much, and then nobody's talked about those games. I'm the first person that's mentioned Warhawk in 15 years, but
I think the Starhawk guy was in PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale.
Really?
Was he?
I think so.
Wow.
I think he was DLC.
Princess.
I bet that game came out the same year. I bet they were just trying to market
so.
it.
He was DLC for it with Cat from Gravity Rush, if I remember right, and I'm pretty sure I do because I love that game. That's also a good. That's a good one, like Smash Bros, Mario Kart. I know they're all really obvious, but
not co-op.
They're the co-op games.
Not co-op though.
Yeah.
How's Mario Kart
no,
co-op?
I wouldn't have them as co-op game, but I guess Double Dash.
Even Double Dash, you're not driving together, are you?
In the same? Can you control the two? I can't remember how it works.
I don't think you'd be in the car with somebody. I think you just because you swap who the driver. I don't know.
Smash. You could do teams. That's co-op.
Smash, you can do teams. Fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Technicality.
Yes. We'll do another episode for couch competitive and another episode for co-op not on the couch. And the show will last 100 years. That's about all I have. Anybody else have any ones that we have to mention? Any of your favorites?
I think a really, really big one in the genre for me, that they're not entirely couch co-op because they're single player games where you can just have a second player added on. But the Lego games did really fun co-op stuff, obviously, because you could just run around the free play area and some of the Marvel games, and then you did all the levels together. So I played a couple of those in co-op. Mostly I played them.
And being able to
co-op
pick
stuff was cool.
Being able to pick any character. Yeah, because then it's funny to see these two characters together that shouldn't be together. Yeah.
And the later ones had quite a few interactions as well, like characters.
Oh, right.
You would pair up in the Deadpool and Wolverine, the two would come to mind, but characters you kind of get paired up in the comics but weren't paired up in the games would have interactions to like signify that they knew each other in the lore. Which was fun.
Love lore.
Star Wars one's the best ones, I think, if I had to pick.
I don't
if I had
love
to be
Star
really
Wars
boring
that
and
much,
pick.
so I wouldn't pick Star Wars, but I do.
I wouldn't pick the new Star Wars one. I did not like that, but the complete saga, chef's kiss.
I think I just picked Marvel Heroes, which is another dull pick. I like the Jurassic Park ones.
Indiana Jones was a good one.
I like the Batman ones.
Oh, the
Batman ones are cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Can we all agree
was cool.
Lord of the Rings is the worst one? Or Lego Movie. Lego Movie's the worst one.
I don't like the Pirates one.
No.
Oh, that's controversial.
Man, they sure made a lot of those
the Lego
things.
Sphere. They sure did.
They made a lot of those things. And then they made Funko Fusion, and the end. That's the end of that story.
Legos, they've just announced they're doing some in-house games, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that really is the end then, because it's a different formula, right? Like the TT games have a completely they figured it out. I don't think
these ones are going to be on the blockchain, and you get to go into the multiverse.
Please stop! Please stop! I can't.
Lego coming to Fortnite. Oh, Lego is in Fortnite. Never mind. That's already a thing.
Yeah.
God damn it.
A big thing.
A very nostalgic episode, if I do say so myself. I think those are all of our favorite couch co-op games. We want to know your favorite couch co-op games. So leave us a comment down below. That's it for this episode. We'll be back next week with another episode of your favorite game. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and visit us at The Gamer. That's The Gamer. No spaces.